All right, 5.4, the remainder theorem. Is this ready? All right, so evaluating polynomial functions, you find f of 3. So when we see f parentheses 3, it means f of 3 using direct substitution. What this means is we're going to plug this 3 in here, here, and here. So 2, 3 to the 4th, minus 8, 3 squared, plus 5 times 3 minus 7. All right? And then 3 to the 4th power is 81, times 2 is 162. Minus 3 squared is 9. 9 times 8 is 72. Plus 5 times 3 is 15, minus 7. So 162 minus 72 plus 15 minus 7 is 98. So if we substitute 3 in for x, we get 98. So in other words, if x is 3, y is 98. X, y, also known as f of x. Okay? These all mean the same thing. This is the same thing as y. Okay, now the remainder theorem, part 1. You can use synthetic division to also evaluate a function. So we have x is 3. Now remember, if x is 3, that's the number that goes in the box. Well, if x is 3, x equals 3. If we move this back over there by subtraction, that is the binomial x minus 3. So this is the same thing as saying divide by x minus 3, which we've already gone over. Okay, in previous lesson. And remember, it could also be written like this, or it could be written times x minus 3 to the negative 1. So just a reminder, there's 3 ways to write this. And when we talk about x being 3 already, we're not given the binomial, but we should be able to figure out what the binomial was. Okay? So we're going to do synthetic division. So we see this is 4. We look for 3, 2, 1, 0. Well, we have a 2 and we have a 1, but we don't have a 3. Very important. And I think a good hint at the beginning is to write in 0x cubed. Just to remind yourself that we have our coefficient of our x to the 4th term. We do not have a cubed. Here's our squared. Remember, track the negative with that 8. Common mistake. And if you make that mistake, everything after that cannot be right. 5 is the coefficient of x. And then negative 7, again, the negative stays with it, right there. Now we just do synthetic division. Remember, we drop the 2, and we're going to multiply by 3. Drop straight down, add straight down, sorry. 0 plus 6 is 6, times 3. Add straight down, multiply by 3. Add straight down, multiply by 3. So 35 times 3 is 105. And 105 minus 7 is 98. Does that number look familiar here? It should. It's the same thing as direct substitution. Okay? Now, if we were going to go one step further and write this all out, remember, we started with 4, so that's going to be 2x cubed plus 6x squared plus 10x plus 35, and that 98 is our remainder. And this is why it's important to know what that binomial is if we had to write this out. Remainder, hence the remainder theorem. Okay? But one more trick. If you just had to do substitution and you have your calculator, okay, we just go to y equals, clear it out, and put in 2x to the 4th. Make sure you come down. Minus 8x. There is no square, so we can put arrow 2 or just hit the square button here. Plus 5x minus 7. And then if we just go to the table, now that's messed up, so we want to kind of go to start at 0. Okay, or we could just put 3 and go down here to 3. What do we get? 3 gives us 98. So on a test, you can use a calculator to help you prove and double check your work. Now, if you're supposed to do direct substitution, here's how you do it, but you can use a calculator and just to show your work, say, enter it into calculator, into y equals, okay? Or you can check your work. Also, if you're doing synthetic division, you can do that real quickly just to confirm that you did synthetic division correctly. So like if I would have gotten 95 here and I went to my calculator and did this, then I made a mistake somewhere. So first step, I would just make sure that I entered it correctly. And if I did, and this number down here doesn't match, I would just go back and check my math because I know that this should be 98. So again, let the calculator help you. Okay, synthetic division to evaluate -2. So -2 is the number in the box. Don't get in the habit of saying, oh, it's the opposite, because this is the same as x plus 2 equals 0. Move it over, x equals -2. So that's the number in the box, but this is our binomial. So we have a 4, we have a 3, we don't have a 2, we don't have a quadratic. We have a 1, and we have our constant. Now again, the beauty of this is before I even do this, I could go into my calculator, and this is not required, but you can save yourself the trouble. 3x to the power of 4. Come down, minus x to the power of 3. Make sure you come down. Minus 5x plus 10. Plus didn't show up. Always double check. Go to my table. Evaluate -2. I should get 76. Let's see if I do. Drop that 3. Multiply by -2. Add straight down. Multiply by -2. Add straight down. Multiply by -2. Okay? -28 plus a -5. Remember, adding is -33. Multiply by 2. Add straight down, 76. What did I get in my calculator? 76. I know I did it right. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the remainder. Okay, so when it says evaluate -2, we're just looking for the remainder. Okay, you don't have to write all this out, but it's good practice right here. Just to remind you, we would start with 3, then you go down to 2, then you go down to 1, then our constant, and then our remainder, -76 over x plus 2. Not 3, 2. Now remember, this is just extra. We're just practicing. If it says evaluate this, we're just looking for the remainder. Now, if it says direct substitution, you can use a calculator. If it says this, you must do all this work, but the calculator can help you make sure you did it right. So just to remind you, if it says direct substitution, you can just do the calculator and be done. If it says synthetic division, you have to do all this work, but the calculator will let you know if you did it right. Synthetic division, 3 goes in the box. Okay? I'm not going to do the calculator again or write it out all the way. We're just going to do it like this would look on the test. So I have my cubic. I have my squared. I have my 1. So there's 3, 2, 1. We're good to go. No zeros needed here. Minus 32 is my constant. Okay, so notice we had the 0 because of this. This problem, no zeros needed. Drop the -2. Multiply by 3. Drop down, add down, -16. Multiply by 3. That'd be -48. -48 plus 8 is -40. Times 3 is -120. And -120 plus -32 is a little bit bigger number, -152. So that is our answer, the negative 152. When we evaluate, that's what we get. Now, I will tell you, even though I teach this and I know how to do this, I'll tell you right now, I did, while I'm doing this problem, I did go to my calculator. I did enter this in. I went to my table just to make sure that this was right. Because you know what? I'm human. I can make mistakes. I'm not going to do that in the video right here, but I'm telling you, use your calculator to make your life easier. Now, part 2. You can use synthetic division to determine if a factor or solution to a polynomial. So if the remainder comes out to be 0, then the number in the box is a solution. And the remaining equation should be factorable to find other solutions. So x plus 1. Again, x plus 1 equals 0. X equals negative 1. That's my number in the box. Hint, hint. You think we're going to end up with 0? Likely. So we have a 4. We have a 3. We don't have a 2. We have a 1. So 1x to the 4th minus 2x cubed, 0x squared, 1x, negative 2. And again, there's nothing stopping you from putting this in the calculator and checking the table for this. It's just whether you want to put in the time to make sure you're right. So drop it down, multiply by negative 1. Add straight down, multiply by negative 1. Add straight down, multiply by negative 1. Add straight down, multiply by negative 1, add straight down. So is it a solution factor? Yes, it is. Negative 1 is a solution, and x plus 1 is a factor. Okay, so 2 ways to look at that. This is a factor. This is a solution. Same thing, x equals 2. 2 goes in the box, not negative 2, because remember, this is x minus 2 equals 0. That's my binomial. We're trying to see if that's a factor. There's a little typo here, obviously. Some stuff's missing. There should be an x here and an x here. Always fun. An x here. So we have 3, we have 2, we have 1. Let's do it. No zeros needed. There's my factor, my coefficient of the cubic. Here's my factor of the quadratic. Here's my, did I say factor? I don't know. My coefficient of my quadratic, my coefficient of my linear, and my constant. Drop it straight down, multiply by 2. Add straight down, multiply by 2. Add straight down, negative 1, multiply by 2, negative 8. That would tell me no. Now, did some of you catch my error? I made a mistake here. Okay? Did you catch it? Hit pause and see if you can catch where my error is. And this is why, again, even me, being human, can make a mistake, a careless mistake, a silly mistake, which is why using the calculator is a good thing. So what I did was, I was like, I think this is probably supposed to be yes, but there could be a no, but I wanted to make sure. I always double check my work. So I put this in the calculator, I went to the table, and I have this in my table, which means this should be a yes, which means I made a mistake somewhere. So let's see where that mistake was. 2, 1, negative 7, negative 6. Drop the 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Oh, well, that's silly. And once that's wrong, nothing here can be correct. It's dominoes. So 2 times 2 is 4. I did 1 times 2. Silly mistake. That's 5 times 2. 10 minus 7 is 3 times 2, 0, yes. There's my point exactly. It's easy to make a mistake. Why not take the extra 10 seconds to plug it in the calculator and make sure? All right, x plus 5 means x equals negative 5, and that's the number in my box. I have a cubic, I have a quadratic, I have a linear, I have a constant. There's my coefficient of my cubic, coefficient of my quadratic, coefficient of my linear, and my constant. Let's see if I can do this without making a mistake. Drop the 3. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. I add straight down and get negative 25. I multiply negative 25 times 5 and get 125. Add straight down, I get 132. And 132 times -5 is -3,300. Which to add straight down is -3320. So that doesn't make sense. My calculator was kind of a mistake for me and the calculator. I actually typed in 5 at the beginning and 5 at the end. So actually -5 times 132 is only -660. But still, bottom line, it's a no. Okay, so I had a mistake, but it wasn't a huge mistake because it's still a no, because I did not get 0, which means x plus 5 is not a factor, and this is not a solution. This is my remainder. Okay, and if I did put this in the calculator, which I did, and I checked -5, which I did, I would have gotten -680 for my value. Okay, so this is why, again, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and use your calculator every time to check your work, whether you're graphing or just doing the math. Okay, again, it looks like we're missing some x's here. Hope that's just supposed to be -1x. So this is, again, -3 in the box. 3 is the coefficient of my cubic. 10 is my quadratic. Hopefully -1 for my linear, and -12 just because I've not been having any numbers disappear. So drop that 3, multiply by -3. 10 minus 9 is 1, multiply by -3. Add straight down, multiply by -3, you get a 0, and the answer is yes. And that's all we need to do. And again, if I put this in the calculator and check -3, I would have gotten 0. Good to go. And that's all we're doing for right now.